All right, so let's all take a moment of silence in memory of St. Charlie. And we're done. And
it's a miracle. It's a miracle.
I reckon, well, it's a pity because I don't think he was Catholic. Was he Catholic? He might have been.
He was thinking of.
He was thinking of it, but he was not soon enough because if he had been a bit quicker off the mark there and become converted to Catholicism, he would be eligible for canonization at this point. He could literally be, the Pope could make him a saint.
Probably would have.
I mean, that would be on top of all the people who have already made him a saint.
Yeah.
A lay saint. But he definitely missed a chance there. Charlie, Man of Steel, look down on us from above and protect us with your steel-like bones that are able to stop a 30-06.
Put that up, Scotty. This is if you're on X, you already know this. Everyone's talking about it. This morning, our time, so I guess yesterday evening, US time. Fox News ran it here. Charlie Kirk ally reveals, quote, absolute miracle that may have saved lives during fatal shooting. Andrew Colvett, you've probably seen him, he's number 2 at TP USA, says Kirk's doctor, I'm not sure, surgeon, whatever, who received
the guy
him in the
who
hospital,
worked on him,
called it miraculous that the high-powered round didn't exit his body. This has been one of the chief discussion points in the last 10 days of what the hell happened that day, just establishing baseline facts, which are, a hallmark of these kind of events is that you cannot establish baseline facts for a while, if ever. We found that last year when we spent 4 weeks looking at the ins and outs and theories and sub-theories of the Trump assassination. We came to a good conclusion at the end, but we're fairly sure of a solid basis for it. But here, this basic fact, everyone saw the footage, blood's gushing out of the neck. That's the entrance wound. It's implied because the shooter is, of course, in his front. So it's fired at him, hits the neck, front on. So where's the exit wound? There is none. And that's pretty much been confirmed now. And it's as if taking note of that, observing the discussion online, this is the kind of answer we're getting. Let's scroll down and read the gist of his message. We could just read his post on X, I guess. So Andrew Colvett opened, I want to address some of the discussion about the lack of an exit wound. I'm not usually I'm not interested in delving into this, but you should be, dude, because like most people who are actually on this issue and care about Charlie Kirk. He said he had just spoken, so presumably yesterday, Saturday, with Kirk's doctor/surgeon, who told him the bullet, quote, absolutely should have gone through his neck, which is very normal for a high-powered, high-velocity round. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times, and they always just go through everything. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, etc. Yeah, carry on. Yeah. The surgeon said when he learned that the dozens of other staff were behind Kirk, I don't remember seeing that in the footage, but yeah, of course there were people milling behind his little tent. The surgeon replied, it was an absolute miracle that someone else didn't get killed. Again, just reinforcing the fact that it should have gone through him and carried on in that direction. The doctor added that Kirk's, quote, bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the Man of Steel. It should have just gone through and through. The Man of Steel is, everyone knows, reference to this guy here, Superman. And off they go. I don't know if this is a flash in the pan. Maybe tomorrow this will be off the headlines, but it's a scary kind of quasi-official. This is the first problem I have with this. This isn't the coroner speaking. This isn't even the doctor himself who received him at the hospital. We're getting a second hand. like, cause there's no one in officialdom, like, could you just say it next in the next press conference, update people? But no, it comes through a friend, sure, and an ally, sure, but in these circumstances, who is a friend and an ally? That's not exactly clear. It's super dodgy, and it typifies the kind of drip you get in the first days, weeks of an event, like we said, that has the hallmarks of a hidden hand, a manipulation going on behind it. As Joe suggested, reminded me rather, when we've looked at these things in the past, you get the sense that part of the reason such a tight withholding of information, whether it's surveillance footage or specific details about a bullet or specific details about a getaway or about the perp's background, is as if there's a withholding of information to observe what the online sleuths, the body politic, are homing in on.
Mm-hmm.
Any inconsistencies they find would focus on, and then a titration of leaks,
information
or
to
proof or evidence.
I mean, at least that's what you would, I think, is reasonable to assume they would do. The famous "they," in scare quotes, would do if they were involved in some kind of skullduggery. I don't think it's unreasonable to suggest that if there's some kind of a operation involved here that is in some way a false flag or a put-up job, whatever you want to call it, that the people behind that would be very careful about the aftermath, taking their time, withholding information. They would have, as we know, I think it's reasonable to suggest as well that in the past events that we assume are similar to that they do have fairly complete control of the whole environment around it in terms of the police response, the FBI response. The FBI comes in, hoovers up information, and if the FBI is involved in this event in one way or another, in a covert way, well, then they're going to be very careful about the aftermath. Like you said, waiting to see what the public response is to it. But even that's one part of it. But beyond that, even forgetting about the public response, they're going to be very careful about managing the cleanup operation afterwards, and that's going to delay the normal process, or the process that would happen if it were just a straight up shooting. Crazy person goes to a place, shoots someone else, done deal, no one else involved. Normal law enforcement take control of it, and then the normal process proceeds. And usually that's fairly quick in terms of revealing to the public, or just public information or public interest, what actually happened. And they can do that, and they can just say, well, this guy came along, here's a video. See him there? That's the guy in the video. See him holding the gun? He shot it. See the bullet? It goes and hits that other guy. See the other guy falling down? He died. Then that's us arresting that guy. And here's the results from the initial medical investigation. Yeah, he was shot in the head and he's dead. There you go. And I was like, oh, well, fair enough. Looks like a spade. That's what it is. And okay, we can move on now. That obviously doesn't. So one of the markers of it being possibly some kind of a manipulated event is when you don't have that process, or that it's much delayed. People are wondering where's information, why is nothing being said, why are confusing statements being put out. Like in a very normal straight up shooting, there's no room for any confusion really. There shouldn't be any confusion.
Yeah. After
a day or two, everything should be quite transparent. Because there's cameras everywhere, especially in the case where there's cameras involved and stuff. Why would anybody be confused? Short of, why would even anybody in authority actually make any contradictory statements? They can take a day, look at it themselves. Yeah, person A shot person B. Right, okay. Well, let's tell people that then. Give them some video evidence. what else is there in a shooting?
Mm-hmm.
One person shoots another, right? Done.
Yeah.
There's nothing anomalous. If there is something a bit weird or whatever, it can be easily explained.
Yeah. And that,
even if it's very strange, you can say, well, it's strange things happen, but there you go.
Yeah, like strange things do happen when bullets enter bodies.
Sometimes, yeah.
The problem,
but they haven't said that.
Well,
except for this, which is like so strange as to be Superman level.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So there's not been anything that I've seen coming from any kind of coroner's report or anything like that. Official.
Maybe, yeah.
And so in the absence of that, like, I mean, this is a very high profile thing, and people have been gaslit from other incidents that were high profile and full of holes and inconsistencies, so that primes people to be suspect of things, and so that causes problems. But then there's also like legitimately crazy people who will look at anything and everything and be like, see, this is proof of something stupid, and that cacophony of crazy is not helping.
No, but there wouldn't be that if it was straight up.
Yeah.
And if it was straight up told people what happened
it strongly suggests
in the week afterwards.
No.
Huh? Well, you'd get a little bit, but you wouldn't get the cacophony. There aren't that many crazy people, especially when if there was no evidence to go on, if nothing to get to that they can bite on or chew on. There's nothing to go on, if you know what I mean. If it was a straight up shot, I mean, it's all the only thing people are talking about are the things that are actually genuinely anomalous about this. If there was nothing anomalous, you know what I mean. If a bullet had come out the back of his neck and hit the back of the wall, and there was blood splatter everywhere and all that kind of stuff, and sure, there might be a bit of like, well, maybe the FBI was involved in this, blah, blah, or whoever was involved in this. But it's the problem of the very anomalous stuff about the bullet and the whole trajectory of it. Like, I mean,
to be clear, the cacophony is entirely online. From officialdom, unless you guys know to the contrary, it's omerta.
Yeah.
In the entire week since we last discussed this, are you aware of any official information? I've got one potential
Cash
one.
Patel.
Yeah, there was something from
Cash Patel spoke.
Yeah.
And well, the first time he spoke was he said that they had the guy in custody, and it wasn't the guy; it was that old guy. What do you call him?
Oh yeah, George Zinn.
So he was a bit too quick off the mark, but no. But I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you can live in the kind of internet world and think, oh my god, the whole world is about to bust this wide open, and the whole world is exposing the fact that everybody knows it's a conspiracy. It'd be great to be able to do a poll. Somehow, magically do a poll of, say, all Americans, if you could somehow, and ask them just, what do you know? First of all, entry question would be, do you know who Charlie Kirk is? No, never heard of him. Right, well, that's one section of the population. Oh yeah, was that the guy who was shot? Probably most people. Yeah, I heard about him being shot. Yeah. Terrible.
That's the next section.
Terrible. That's the next section. The next section. Oh yeah, Charlie Kirk, that guy. Those damn lefties, freaking going crazy, picking up guns and shooting people. The left are just completely lost it. That's another section.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably at this point after that, you're down at the far end of the spectrum, where the people would say, "Oh yeah, Charlie Kirk, but definitely something suspicious about that. No way. Did you see where that bullet went? Where's the exit?" Who was able to say all that stuff, all the conspiracy stuff? Probably talking about. I don't know. I'd like to know. That's what I'm saying. I'd like to be able to know. Yeah. But I'd say it's probably 10% of the population.
Yeah.
So you're talking about that 90% of the population don't think there's anything odd about this at all, other than it was either just it was a shooting and they don't care, or it was a shooting and it's those damn lefties. The stuff we were talking about and that we were all like,
but that's what I mean.
Tasking ourselves
when you're saying like there's contradictory information coming out, and most of the information that's come out is stuff that's been coming out online. And we know that there is an overrepresentation of, I don't know if you would even call it an overrepresentation, but there is a mismatch between what the section of the population who thinks a certain thing, and like you were saying, maybe it's only 5% of the population that's is actively doing any kind of investigating on this,
or is aware of it, yeah.
but they would be overrepresented in the amount of things that you're seeing online if you are actively looking into it. Does that make sense? Like, because you are looking into it, you're going to be seeing more of those people who are also looking into that event.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So you're going to be in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
And thinking, and then it'd be wrong to extrapolate that out, or extrapolate out to all of Americans being on edge with this, and this being suddenly an opportunity for it to be busted wide open, where they've let the cat out of the bag on this one, and all of America, or the majority of Americans, are all now clued into the fact that the FBI or the deep state or Israel or whatever you want to call it killed Charlie Kirk. That's probably incorrect.
Yeah.
And so that's just the reason I said that is I'm speaking to why there's no official response, because if government authorities, whatever, would only feel the need to address any of these issues if they thought a significant number of people in the country had an issue with it or wanted to know. So they're taking a reading one way or another, or maybe they live in a bubble of their own and they're totally detached from reality. But generally speaking, basically what I'm saying is that throughout history or modern history, whatever, in America, let's say, if there's 10 people on the internet claiming that there's some conspiracy about some particular event and demanding that their questions be answered by the authorities, 10 people out of 300 million, let's say, it's not unreasonable that authorities would not be aware of that at all. And even if they were, they would go, what, I'm going to pander to 10 people out of 300 million? That's not the population. That's not the people of America. That's a bunch of crazies. So I'm not going to dismiss those people. Like I dismiss anybody. That said, Netanyahu
seems very worried. I bet he's seeing real numbers.
Felt that it was necessary to come out and say something, but maybe he's just very touchy about Israel. He doesn't like bad things being said about Israel. Like it's like he's turned into one of those people where somebody's saying something bad about Israel on the internet, and I have to go and disagree with them because I'm so anally obsessed with.
Well, he has single-handedly propelled this.
Yeah, but this is just to sum up. Like, we don't know what's going on, but an example is this is a video of one of those jelly skull. Well, it's a resin cast skull with what do they call it?
Ballistic gel.
Ballistic gel around it. So it basically tries to they're kind of professionally made, so they're meant to mimic the effects of the a human skull with flesh and stuff. So click on the left hand video, and you'll just see what there's a 30-06.
Why is it blurred out? Okay, there we go.
It's much.
It's because can
you make it bigger?
After Effect.
Click on the actual video.
Because that's actually gel on the camera lens.
Oh, right.
That was just after the fast shot, but we'll just slow down. This is basically what a human's. There you go. There's a 30-06 does. You probably hit it center or whatever.
Right. And so that's why everyone.
And the reason there's such
looking for.
The reason there's such an explosion there is because.
Alternative explanation.
The reason exactly. And the reason there's such an explosion there is because obviously he's probably hitting it center, so he's hitting the mass of the actual skull, and the skull is kind of like exploding basically and fracturing, right? So that's why there's such an explosion. That's, maybe that's a bit more graphic because it's jelly-like and all that kind of stuff, and maybe skin would hold together better. But you're talking about it's pretty.
But it's also probably farther away. Like some of those videos,
right.
they're actually
quite close. Relatively close.
Relatively
closer than. Yeah. But still, it's an example of the power of that bullet. And 130 meters or 140 yards, whatever, isn't a long distance, relatively for shooting or target practice or for anybody, even people who, wouldn't even be that skilled with a gun or whatever. It's not hard for a person with a few minutes basically of training. Like I think I was watching someone saying that he could take you in like a guy who trains people on firearms. He could take you with like an AK, not an AK, but an AR-15 or something like that, and within 5 minutes of training at 140 yards, he'd be absolutely confident that he could take even a beginner with a few minutes of training, and they'd be able to put 5 bullets within a 5-inch radius at that distance. So the problem is, the point about that is that kind of ballistic gel resin head kind of explodes is because he probably hit it center on and it's a resin that's exploding, whatever. But so that resin is made to mimic the density of bone of a skull, and the ballistics gel is meant to be like skin and flesh, muscle, whatever. So obviously that does a lot of damage to it. That may have been closer. I don't know exactly what distance that was, but it may have been closer. Although the guy's got a scope and everything, so it's a reasonable distance away. And the problem is that we're told in this now official report that you just put up allegedly from the guy from TP USA talking to the surgeon, saying that he didn't say explicitly maybe, but that his bone, he talked about he's got super strong bones like the Man of Steel. So it's bone in his neck.
Yeah.
Because it hit his neck, it didn't hit his head. So you're talking about his spinal column.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not very big. That's what stopped the bullet. Yet, in this video that we're just watching, that bullet just completely shatters and passes through bone. Which is why they're calling it a miracle. Yeah. Because it shouldn't have happened. That idea of it, of the, a person's neck bone or collarbone, or well, one thing with collarbone, right? All you've got is the top of his spinal column.
I would be interested in knowing whether or not there was it goes into the neck, hits the spinal cord, the spinal column, and then does some kind of like ricochet.
Like a ping pong ball?
Like a ping pong, because that happens.
Bouncing around a few times.
Well, early today, Alex Jones says he called Andrew Colvett for him to elaborate. And he claims the Colvett told him this time that the surgeon also said that the bullet went in and did that. It ricocheted down through his body, not up. And Jones, he said, yeah, that makes sense because the bullet was coming from an upward trajectory down to his position and carried on. It ricocheted inside the body and went downwards. So it never left, it never exited. But, dude, with a downward trajectory, the distance is 140 yards.
It's a 9%.
It's tiny. It's basically straight on.
Yeah.
It should go through the neck.
You're expected to come out in a straight line, yeah, and pass through any bone matter it meets and stuff,
It sounds like Colvett adjusting, because he just earlier said, the surgeon said, it's a miracle no one behind Kirk was killed. Not just hit, killed.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone else, all the hunters have spoken up and said, Jesus, yeah, I mean, that would pass through 2 bison, It's anywho. The most interesting thing about this isn't to try to assess the objectivity of it. It's to track the narrative formation. All week long, the number one talked about issue, people are trying to find a position of a potential second shooter on the right and all this stuff, and whether or not he had a breastplate. And the breastplate, our body armor, stems. The reason people are trying to go to make that be there is because they're trying to account for it. Remember, being hit first, the tip absorbing most of the shock and accidentally ricocheting up into the neck, because people are trying to fill in what they're seeing with the claimed reality, the only actual piece of concrete data the authorities have given them, which is a 30-06. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Hit Charlie Kirk. Okay, well, right, day one they went, well, a 30-06 would pass through him. There's no obvious exit wound, so off they went with breastplate armor and possibly a different angle. It went in on the right side of his neck, and this is in fact the exit wound, blah, 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 blah. And it's now we have a narrative addition that's quasi-official because it's hearsay, and it's addressing the very issue that's being most discussed. So that's the most interesting thing about it. And of course, that came on the eve of what's happening right now. I believe it's going on right now. I think the live stream started.
The memorial.
The memorial is today.
With the whole government there. All of Trump's cabinet.
Oh, it's crazy, isn't it? The whole government.
They're trying to milk it. Well, obviously they're going to milk it. That's not
Obviously.
surprising, right? They're going to exploit it and use it in memory of Charlie, and it's all for the good. But like on the medical thing, I mean, the official story then, according to Alex Jones or the Downward, we don't even know this for sure that it ended up in his chest. So you're talking about the bullet traveled 140 yards at a 9% slope, so not far off, straight, hit his soft neck, and then turned 90 degrees downwards into his chest cavity.
Because he has bones like Superman.
Maybe it actually travelled because there's the carotid artery that it seems to have hit. So maybe it went in there and then took a right turn there, travelled down into his heart.
Jones actually said that he thinks now that there were fragments that ruptured his heart.
And if his heart had not been so big, it would have actually fired the bullet back at the assailant.
Whence it came.
Yeah.
And hit him square in the eye.
Killing him in direct headshot. But unfortunately, Charlie's heart was just too big. And he had no cholesterol, obviously, because there was nothing blocking those arteries.
Because he was in perfect health. I knew, like,
is that a better theory?
Days ago,
it.
They're going to have a magic bullet theory or some version. I was slightly off. It's not so much the bullet that's magic; it's that the target was magic. And then what worries me is that, given what you said about the breakdown of the American population and this little bit of mythical quasi-official news happening just before it, is that today, with all the grief and the mourning and the praise Jesus, and Charlie was a true Christian, he was a martyr, he was one of us, he was a true-blooded American, it might actually bite with enough, let's say, normie MAGA types. They might actually believe that.
It does sound like a way to try and appeal to those people. I mean, it's pretty crass, but trying to appeal them, like make him into a martyr and pump him up as a man of steel and stuff. But are people that stupid? No, I don't think. Some of them might be, but obviously the ones who are on this on the internet and on Twitter and stuff are like, no, this is bullshit. Like they're not going to let it go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, if you look at the Crook situation with Butler shooting of Trump and stuff, the chances are we're not going to get any resolution on this. There's not going to be any.
No,
they're not. This is going to be made to go away. BB may be planning something, especially today, since today, I think, what was the UK, Canada, France, somewhere else, a few other places all announced that they were, from today, at the UN, recognizing Palestine as a state.
Oh, did France join in? I didn't see that.
And BB's apoplectic about it. And so he's maybe gonna do, certainly, I don't know. These if you notice the pattern where these things happen, like even with Butler and stuff, Butler we had a month or so, whatever, but there was other stuff going on and stuff that could move in and take its place, so I wouldn't be surprised if something else comes along.
New tragedy.
The list of countries I have:
UK, Canada, Australia today, yeah.
France, UK, Canada, Australia.
Okay.
That's pretty much the Five Eyes apart from the US. Belgium, Luxembourg, Malta, Portugal, New Zealand, and San Marino, who joined, therefore, Ireland, Slovakia, and Norway in the Western. I mean, many, many, many other Muslim majority countries already do. But it's telling because they're Western countries. So there is a split now in the West on this. And yes, it's to be the UK. Starmer announced it today, but it's to be formally registered as their country's position tomorrow at the beginning of the annual United Nations General Assembly in New York, which the Palestinian leader is banned from attending because they didn't give him a visa to enter the US, probably under Israeli pressure. But I'm speculating. Everyone, I love the way everyone is like, online, they're all being careful now. It's not just Candace. They're all like going, allegedly, 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 allegedly. But we're all well trained to go, I think, just my opinion, allegedly. But everyone fucking knows that. Oh, whatever. Okay. So we'll do the same thing. Allegedly. Israel stopped Abbas from entering New York City. Anyway, so that's tomorrow. So yeah, global events could easily eclipse this. In that sense, the Charlie Kirk true story will go away. That flotilla is on its way to Gaza. I think it's around Crete now, that longitude. So in the next 3-4 days, that situation will ripen. Probably Israel will just raid the ships and capture them, take them back to Israel. Remains to be seen if they're going to follow through on the threat of torturing the flotilla activists. This probably is nothing to see here, but already a man has been caught and arrested at the stadium in Arizona where the memorial is taking place this morning. It's a little bit odd, though. They're saying he was arrested. They're saying he was stopped and found with a knife and a gun, and has been released, saying it's okay. He was part of a security check, so he was meant to be caught and found and stopped. But the dodgy thing is, when you look at the article, so the message is, it's cool, he's one of us, but the ID he produced was fake police ID. Armed man arrested at site of Charlie Kirk funeral. Was conducting security sweep. That's according to Kirk's own organization. Arrested Friday. Oh gosh, this isn't today. This is a couple of days ago. He was arrested for allegedly for posing as a cop. Okay. We don't think he was attempting anything nefarious, said Colvett. But here's his photo. Doesn't look like a cop to me. Looks like a fanatic of some type. I suppose undercover and all that. Just scroll down and see what else they said. Yeah, it's bizarre. This guy, his surname was Runkles. He was providing security for one of the guests, so he arrives ahead of the time to get caught deliberately to test the security response as a private bodyguard of someone who's going to turn up 2 days later on Sunday. It's a bit weird. Scroll down a bit more so I can see if there's anything else that stood out. No, they just have a summary. Allegedly carrying a knife and a gun and an expired credentials. He told Secret Service agents he was there to provide private security, and handed them the faulty police badge and ID. He was booked into jail, so he was jailed for impersonating a law enforcement officer. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
I doubt anything's going to happen there, because if the whole government's going, then it's going to be super, super lockdown. Super dodgy, though. You know, the stadium's designed to look like a coiled up snake. Super creepy.
Nice.
I'm not sure why. It's the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Baseball.
Yeah. So it's
a coil snake.
They're the Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks. That's the connection.
There you go. Yeah. But maybe, who knows? Maybe we're just all totally wrong on this, and maybe it just isn't a weird thing that happened with a bullet and everybody can just shut up. Maybe we're all just pissing into the wind here, you know?
Yeah, maybe we should just listen to Laura Loomer, who's warning that, guys, you're missing the obvious. Her sources are telling her that Al Qaeda and ISIS are planning another 9/11 any day now in the US.
Ah,
So we should just drop it and just focus and be aware of the next thing, right? You know,
It sounds to me like Al Qaeda could use some freedom.
mm,
That's what it sounds like she's saying, is that we need to go and set those Al Qaeda jihadis free from their ideological.
what the part I
Imprisonment.
couldn't square up though was the photo of Al Jolani or whatever name he's taken, the president of Syria, currently in Central Park on tour, having a chill time, seeing the lights, the beautiful skyline of New York, ahead of attending tomorrow's United Nations General Assembly. Al Qaeda, yeah. So I'm not sure which Al Qaeda she's talking about. Obviously not that Al Qaeda.
right, the ones the Americans have been supporting. Yeah. But maybe he's there to actually carry out some kind of the Al Qaeda terror attack. Maybe he's going to blow up the UN. Maybe he'll just like get up to give a speech and he'll pull up in his shirt and there'll be an explosive vest, and he'll say
Like the sticks of dynamite, and then
Yeah.
it's got the countdown
timer,
thing,
an
the timer,
alarm clock.
and he's got the dead man switch, and
Right. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen.
well, that would.
Say, surprise, bitches! You thought I wasn't Al Qaeda, but I am.
At last,
Still,
that
finally.
25-year plan
Kaboom.
has come to fruition. This was the final twist in the story. We would get you to like us again, and then you would welcome us inside the building, and then, like in Arlington Road,
Yeah.
we would go boom. Yeah, people. What? Let me ask you too. Have you been following, watching Candace Owens shows on the Kirk investigation?
Mm.
I think
Well,
I'm
her investigation.
1 or 2 episodes behind.
Okay. Well, she did 5. She didn't do one to yesterday, Saturday. She
Can't
usually
stop
does this
herself.
Monday or Friday. She's pretty good. She's pretty good. She reminds me of me all those years ago
When you were a black woman,
Yeah. Back in the day, before you
when
Before
this shit would happen. I'd be like, okay, I need a
What?
timeline.
before
We need the timeline. Give me, and she's like that. It's like,
yeah.
I need my timeline. And, we would have master sheets, the two of us, and we'd be bouncing it back and forth. Joe would actually sometimes publish, here's the official timeline, and then insert where the problems were, where the anomalies don't line up and stuff like that. That's what you do. That's the thorough way to go through it. And by process of reduction, you'll end up with
nothing.
well, you will end up with the key inconsistencies that are at least have glaring holes in the official narrative. And
Maybe glaring holes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, glaring holes. Well, serious questions.
Serious
Unanswered
but then you'd also
questions.
get, the police radio chatter transcript, or preferably the original audio.
Yeah.
And they got wise to that. In the 2000s, you could get that and listen to it raw and stuff, unedited. But the shitheads got wise to that. And what they start doing was doctoring them. And there'd be bits missing. Or you'd hear one that said something and the other one has switched out and something else replaces. So they became unreliable. But the general tack she's on, that's right. You've got to be like a news hound like her. You've got to absolutely be a tiger on this. Now, it's a bit messy in her case because she's personally involved with the cast of players around Kirk who may be, if not suspect, they may, let's say, fall into confluence with any potential deep state perps. So she's kind of involved. She's also obviously very pissed about it, so she's angry, so her emotions are involved as well. But she's trying, bless her. I think she's getting way too much flack for trying to figure out what happened. And she's noticing, she's the frustration. I also feel her frustration about it drove me fucking cuckoo. I've philosophically come to terms with it these days, but for 10, 15 years I was like, WTF, why does officialdom / the media basically discourage any interest or concern for just finding the basic facts, a baseline set of facts. Instead, it's immediately into the emotional. So, for example, a local news station that was at the Parkland school shooting in Florida, right? Okay, it's the day after. We've got a bunch of kids here lined up. We're going to ask them. They say we're going to ask them what they saw, heard, suspected, whatever. What were your impressions? Leave it open. But no, they line them up. Tell us, how does this make you feel?
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling? And then as soon as the kid's rational brain bypasses the emotional center, which is being targeted by the media, and they start to recount facts, but the feeling, they try to bring, how did it feel? And it's so infuriating because people do, depending on who you are, you do want to know. I want to know some things, like what actually happened here. But it's all the feels, Boston bombing, immediate campaign of Boston strong. Doesn't matter what actually happened. The point is, we're all united by the terror, aren't we? Hugs. United under terrorism. Isn't it sad?
What actually happened be damned.
Fuck me. So she's going through that. I know exactly what that's like. Good luck to her. She'll come up with, she is being useful. I mean, I think part of the reason why there was a response via Andrew Colvett isn't just because randomly people on the internet were going, where's the fucking exit wound? But because Candace herself persuaded homie who took down the camera that was directly behind Kirk in the tent, who she knew. She contacted him directly. And by her account, he was sound about it. He wasn't being sketchy or shady. He said, this is what it shows. Okay, she's like, show me. I'm not going to publish it. So they apparently arranged to view it so she could see it online from his account. And so she told that in her last show on Friday. And she said, guys, there's no gore, basically. There's no exit wound from behind him. There's no shot from behind. There's nothing suspicious going on from behind. So I think this Superman theory, he was Superman, he just had bones made of steel, is a response to Candace. Because she's getting like 4, 5, 6 million views.
So where does that line up in your timeline? So, like, because at first Candace said that she had reached out to the guy, and then he said, let me talk to the lawyer, and then I'll get back to you. And then this is Friday, and just gone. And when was maybe she got to see on Thursday, but on her Friday show, she described what happened when she contacted him. That she said he wasn't sketchy about it. He was totally open with her, and the reason he gave her for not doing anything with it before was because he had turned it in to investigators. Yeah, which is what most people do. Yeah, and she's rightly going, guys, you should never do that. You should publish it first. But that's sketchy because you can understand why. I mean, at the Las Vegas shooting, we know they were going around basically confiscating everyone's phone. Just hoovering the shit up. Still, a lot of footage came out that was useful in showing how long the gunfire went on. That it didn't just come from up there in the casino tower, it came from elsewhere, and so on. But that's why they strongly encourage you to give it all to them. But he did it spontaneously. He said he took the SD card out and he gave it to feds or police or whoever. But nevertheless, he didn't withhold from Candace what he'd seen. He watched it first. Anyway, this doesn't prove anything. My point is, again, simply in the narrative sequence, Candace, presumably on Thursday, watches, then on Friday, her live stream, or 5th episode on investigating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. She says what she sees on that. And then we get this response yesterday, Saturday, without mentioning Candace Owens. That I see some people are wondering where that exit wound is, and now we have the miraculous explanation.
It's a miracle. Miracles happen. Happened last year in Butler.
Okay,
There you go.
that's a possibility.
There you go.
And we have the
There's
connection between Charlie.
off-worldly manipulation, miraculous, higher level.
Jesus.
That's the
did it.
thing. The Jesus.
Is it
Jesus-
Jewish Jesus or is it
Well,
Black Jesus? or-
Jesus saved Trump. Obviously.
Obviously.
Jewish Jesus. Jewish Jesus killed Charlie Kirk. Well, no, it didn't kill him. For some reason, yeah. Jewish Jesus turned Trump's head. Sorry, no. Jesus turned Trump's head. Jewish Jesus adjusted the trajectory of the bullet in Charlie Kirk's case. Because here's what actually happened. I can now reveal it, finally, for all the world to hear.
Been waiting all this time.
The guy, Tyler Robinson, wasn't a very good shot and had totally missed. So Jewish Jesus decided to intercede. And kind of like in the Matrix, you know, the way in the Matrix when Neo kind of slows everything down and he can just stop, pick the bullet out of the air.
Yeah.
Well, Jewish Jesus kind of did that, slowed everything down and just changed the trajectory of the bullet and made it even go down inside his neck and into his cavity, into his chest cavity. Because that's how Jewish Jesus rolls.
I was leaving.
You know, the magic bullet theory for JFK in 1963 was the theory of a Jew.
It was?
Yeah.
Well, that's antiseptic.
It's antiseptic, but I'm just making the connection with the Jewish Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
At least we
leaving-
had another shoot, obviously, and other shooters on the grassy knoll, whatever. Back and to the left, right?
Yeah.
In the JFK assassination. Here,
Well, no, that wasn't
don't
the
have-
official story.
no, but at least we have that.
Yes,
That's,
right.
Almost certainly the case.
And
Back and to the left, right? But here,
That's-
a bit more.
That's that was kind of what I was going to get to, is like what we do have, at least from what I've been able to piece together, it does seem to align mostly with what they're saying. And so I leave open the possibility of something miraculous happening, but maybe not in the sense of he's got strong bones because he drank a glass of milk a day, but more along the lines of that particular bullet was light, in the sense of, when they make bullets, sometimes like they're supposed to be standardized, but it's not always the same, and it's not always perfect. And some rounds can be light, as in there's not as much gunpowder in them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I leave open the possibility of, like, sure, there could be a miracle, but probably more likely it's this, where there wasn't as much of a bullet velocity.
Sure, you can say anything you want, but officially it's simply Grandpa's deer hunting rifle with a 30-06, i.e.
Yeah.
standard off the shelf. He's 22. What does he know? He's not going to fucking design the perfect bullet to create the perfect confusion.
No. I'm not saying that he did that. I'm saying that it was a miracle from. I'm saying that it's possible that there's a miracle from Jesus that
Right.
he just so happened to buy the box that just so happened to have the one bullet that he just so happened to etch. Notice his bulge on, and then fire, and it didn't do what he was expecting it to do.
Maybe that etching on the bullet is what changed the trajectory of it.
That's another possibility.
You tampered with the normal flight path of the bullet because you tampered with its
Structural integrity.
Structural integrity, basically, yeah. Or its aerodynamics. And that's what upset it. Yeah. Or it just happened the way they say it happened. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe bullets do strange things and that's it. There's nothing more to this situation. Other than,
And a
maybe,
guy from an otherwise normal family, but who happens to be lately trans curious,
yeah,
kills Kirk because he's a hater.
yeah, and ran away, and that's it.
Can we talk about those texts?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
did that come out this week?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that is the
Yeah.
official reveal of the week then. The text exchange between him and
I
Furry.
can't remember who it was. The older guy who was at the press conference, and he's reading it out loud. And it's just this old guy, and he's like, "My love, my dad will be really upset about Grandpa's rifle," and that's strange. That whole text chain was strange.
Yeah.
Why they would post the meat of the text, but not like the I don't know how you would do it other than, like screenshotting the text messages so you see the timestamps and stuff.
Well, Kash Patel explained that we have the substance of the messages, but not the messages. Did he say they've been destroyed, or we've lost them, or they got destroyed? So that hence they published a Word doc, typed up version of it, but not screenshots of text messages.
Yeah. Okay.
He said that at the outset. Again, what WTF? The other, actually, now that I think about it, there is one more reveal, but it's kind of a side note. It was presented as a side note. There was a press conference by the sheriff responsible for the formal arrest of Robinson, who gave a detailed statement as to how that went down. Also anomalous, given the circumstances, the way that was treated with kid gloves. Okay, so the sheriff gets a call from and this is why this is part of the confusion in the first week. You remember the confusion about whether or not the dad was retired?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he was handed in, so to speak, by a retired 27-year-long sheriff's deputy who was a friend of the current head of deputies of the region or something. And this big ball guy gave the press statement the story of how it went down. He got a call a day and a half later after the shooting. Hi, I'm friends through church with the parents of the probable suspect, and he's at home, and yeah, you want to come and get him? Okay, awesome. Yeah, let's do it. Oh, one other thing. He's just asked that you do it really, really, really gently. That's his only condition. And big ball guy says, so we did exactly that. We had plainclothes police, no guns. We just calmly went up to the house, and he calmly walked out, and away he came with us. Like, when the fuck has that ever happened for anything?
Mm-hmm.
That alone is another, like, it's another anomaly that deserves a better explanation. Because remember, at this point, supposedly they have no clue who it is. It's another miracle in this whole story is that the only reason they were put onto Tyler Robinson was because his parents persuaded him to turn himself in.
Mm.
If you go with the reality of those texts being real, he's basically saying, it's all wrapped up. Don't worry, my love. I just need to go and get the gun. Actually, they got him there. They got the gun with prints on it, they said, on day one. Okay. You mean you can't track the prints? In this day and age, you can't figure out from the prints who it is? Apparently not. They still were totally in the dark, and it was only thanks to one of the parents going, son, we know it's you. Let's call our old friend Sheriff so-and-so and have him arrange for you to go in. Yes, Mom. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is officially how it went down.
The fingerprint thing
the
would make
biggest
sense.
political assassination in the United States since I don't know, since the 60s. Have there been any since then? Well, there probably have, but not blunt force trauma, public execution style sniper's bullet assassinations. Probably not since the 60s. People have definitely been offed in dodgy ways, car accidents, plane accidents, heart attacks, and stuff like that. But a shooting like this, no. I can't think of. Maybe someone in the chat knows something Has anyone been shot like that since? It's almost like it was. If you're putting a conspiracy hat on, it was like it was meant to remind you of the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
The choice of murder. That's if there was a bigger conspiracy. If there wasn't, then it's just an angry kid who has a furry boyfriend, who wants to be a woman, and he doesn't like Charlie Kirk.
Oh, John
So
Lennon.
he kills him. John Lennon shot. That was opportunistic though, and no one saw the gore. Not the same thing. I'm talking like high profile. Everyone's watching. Bang! There's the blood. Blow his head off. Not sure anyone saw MLK either, but
Yeah. Yeah, it's marginal, I suppose. I mean, it would have had a significant impact, even if it hadn't been filmed, you know. Obviously, in the current climate, you know, it would have caused a lot of upset and stuff. The only thing, if it hadn't happened in view of anybody, all you would have would be the whole left-right kind of division being exacerbated, which, you know, is happening obviously as well. But that's all you'd really have probably if there was no video evidence, or, you know, what didn't happen in a public place. The only effect of it happening in a public place is that people like us are poring over all the details and maybe wasting our time, including Candace Owens, spending countless hours nitpicking our way through it, only to come up with nothing. Only to come up with, oh yeah, so maybe it is what they said it was.
so you're saying there's a chance?
I'm saying there's not a chance. I'm saying that it's, yeah, these people will just, if this was done by these people, they have it all sewn up basically. I mean, consider the possibility, and this isn't even just in terms of carrying out shootings. Well, it is actually in that context, but also in the context of being able to have almost pretty much total control over the whole judicial process. Evidence, no evidence, whatever, for any particular case, you know, to prosecute someone or to pin something on someone. Consider the possibility that Mangione dude didn't actually shoot that healthcare CEO guy. Because I think he didn't. But that means, consider the implications if he didn't.
Yeah, anyone can be assassinated, and it can be made to in public, and it can be made to look like anyone else.
And the patsy, has no recourse. Not the court, not the judicial system, not the judges, not the court case, not police officers, nothing.
The control is so total.
So when you're dealing with that, what's the point in trying to dig into it? You're not going to find any evidence. They're not going to leave. These people don't leave evidence behind them of their skullduggery.
Yeah.
Except, and this is what we're focusing on, the only thing that's left is the actual evidence. When it's public, the only thing that's left is people to pore over the limited available information that there is, or visual information or whatever. Basically, it has to be recorded in some way. And then that's why people are grasping at, like, listening to the sound of the bullet and coming up with, you know, maybe it came from here, maybe it came from there, because they have something to work with, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the only area in which you may find some anomalies that point to. If you don't have that, you have nothing. Whatever they say happened is going to be the official story. These people aren't stupid, you know, and they're well practiced at this.
Yeah.
And they have complete control of before, during, and after.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But again, Butler was a good example. Like, I mean, the reason there's so many people talking about Charlie Kirk right now and questioning the story is because of Butler. Because that was the most recent one, and it's still fresh in people's minds. And it really, a lot of people, the people who are talking about it, you know, people talking about Charlie Kirk are the same people who are talking about Butler. And, you know, there's there's a lot of different anomalies there in that case that have not been resolved and have just been ignored. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it is fair to assume that if you have that kind of video evidence, and the more you have, the better, that you will be able to, assuming it's some kind of a false flag operation, that you will be able to find anomalies that point to it being a false flag operation. Hard evidence? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because hard evidence would involve the person, like the shooter, particularly if he was assassinated, how he was assassinated, or in this case, the person who was actually assassinated, because Trump wasn't, right? But in this case, so hard evidence would be having access to Charlie Kirk's body, and having an ability to do forensic analysis on it and all that kind of stuff, autopsies. And in the case of Butler, it would have been have access to Thomas Crooks's body.
They incinerated that within 24 hours.
No, 10 days later.
10 days.
Yeah. But there was nobody allowed access to it. There was a senator trying to get access to his body to corroborate between what the autopsy report said and whether
there was a photo,
actually showing
though,
up on his body.
We did get a photo, remember?
Yeah, on the roof, yeah.
Clearly from behind, because his face is blown out from the front. That's the exit wound.
That was still ambiguous, let's say. You could make that case, but...
Yeah.
But short of, that's the only thing you're going to possibly get, because it's a public event and there's video evidence and stuff. But you'd need to have further along to get actual hard evidence. You need access to the bodies, or access to, you'd have to be part of the system. You'd have to know, you have to be a member of somewhere high up in the government, or somewhere high up in the Secret Service in the case of Butler, to find evidence that the Secret Service director at the time, whatever her name was, who got fired afterwards, that she deliberately, didn't put snipers on that roof that Crooks was going to be on, because she knew that Crooks was going to be on that roof. And those 3 snipers that were in the room behind Crooks that had clear view of the rooftop that Crooks was on, and that was the first time that there was ever a sniper team in SS. They were SS snipers, Secret Service snipers. The first time Secret Sniper team had been assigned to a non-sitting president in the history of presidents in America. So that was an anomaly. Why that day? And they were in that room looking over the roof, kind of at an angle, but they could have seen him pretty clearly. There was 3 of them in that end room. And few minutes, maybe 10 minutes or something before the shooting, they looked out the window and saw Crooks down below. This is the official story, this is their explanation. Saw this guy down below. One of them went out to check to see what he was up to, because I think maybe he had a rangefinder at the time.
Yep.
So
and they reported that.
So he went outside to check on him, and when he got down there, no, first of all, one of the 3 of them said, "I'm going home. I think there's a shooting going down soon, so I'm going home." One of them left, leaving 2 in the room. Then one of those 2 saw Crooks down below, left the building, went down the stairs, out the door, around the side of the building to try and find Crooks. Couldn't find him. When he came back, he didn't have his pass card with him or whatever to open the door, so he was locked out. So he radioed the last Secret Service sniper up in the room to come and let him in. And that guy then went down through the building and over to the door to let him in. And during that time, that's when Crooks shot. Hilarious. Keystone Cops. So you're telling me that the 2-minute window, you were there all day, and the 2-minute window when Crooks actually shot at Trump, the 2 of you had left the room, from which you had a perfect view of Crooks. Or whatever long it took. You'd have to look at the time frame, obviously, because officially there was no one on the roof, right? So the time it took them the first one to go down and check for Crooks, and then the other guy go down to let him in. Crooks had made his way around, got up in the building, got into position, shot. And then was taken out, supposedly by the spies
from the front,
the snipers behind Trump.
No, in the end, they said it was a sniper on foot who had breached the first fence and was walking towards.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not SS, he was police, I think, in kind of camo gear, and that he had taken a standing shot, bang, and shot him in the front. And that's the last bullet. That's the story they all told.
Well, that's the 9th bullet.
Okay.
I think. there were 10.
There's one
In
more
total.
that's not
There was
accounted for.
Bang,
Well,
there was
that's
bang, bang, bang. Then bang, 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 bang. It was 3 interspersed by, half a second or whatever. Fairly steady. And then 5 in a row a second later. And they were all crooks because they only found eight casings on the roof. And then immediately after that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, those 5 shots in a row. So it's bang, 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 bang. And then immediately, within a second, another one. And then 10 seconds later, you hear a very different shot coming from further away.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that Crooks fired the 8. Then immediately after Crooks finished his 8th bullet, the guy on the ground shot him, fired at him, but hit his gun.
Yes.
Didn't kill him. And then about 8 or 9 seconds later, the guy behind Trump finally was able to figure out what the fuck was going on and took a shot and killed him. But
I don't think that ever squared up. What I heard was that no shots were fired from behind Trump. I think that the last one, this is where there was an advantage to all the hours spent sleuthing and matching up different cameras, phone cameras and recordings and audios. It did produce fruit, because in the end, after so many back and forth and people going, like Chris Martinson, bless him, I got it. These 3 shots are different. They come from somewhere else. But then he was shown, actually, no. But that did come down to one of them. It did come down to the last one being somewhere else, much, much shorter in distance. That's what I remember anyway. It was distinct. Everyone tried, the critics,
the very last
counterpoints, the counter-analysis, they all tried, and there was one that stood out. And that's the one we suspect came from.
No, I think that he was shot immediately afterwards. Those guys in the room didn't leave the room. That's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Those Secret Service snipers were part of the operation, and their job was to take out Crooks, and they took him out immediately after his 8th shot.
Yeah.
And then some other sniper, either on the roof behind Trump or the guy on the ground, 10 seconds later, after Crooks had been killed, which was 1 second after Crooks stopped shooting, they fired and they hit his gun. But they claimed that they killed him.
Yes. But he'd already been dispatched.
Yes.
Immediately, because it's part of the sequence.
Right.
Like, their brief is, no matter what happens here, you kill him.
Of course, yeah. He's going to fire off a certain number of shots whenever there's a pause. He's gone. And you're just sitting in the room, like literally maybe 20 or 30 meters behind him with him in your sights. Like, so he's not moving because he's trained firing his own shots. And as soon as he fires, and that's why he was killed immediately after, because they didn't want to have to try and move. They had him in his sights. They had to kill him while he was still in the prone position.
Yeah. Because
if he decided after his 8 shots that he was going to stand up and try and run off, then the snipers who were there to kill him would be in trouble. So they had to take him out immediately. Soon as while he was still in the prone position, and immediately after he was shooting, after he had fired his shots, because he's still in that position.
Yeah,
because you have him in your sights, right? Because at that point he's obviously going to get up and run away like Robinson did, right?
And within a minute, a couple of cops,
and that
give each other a leg up, and he sticks his head up, and he goes, "And then I got fired at." He never saw who fired at him.
No,
he was being scared away by someone else.
It could have been Crooks, or it could have been someone else. But the thing that stands out in that as well is that final shot. Because if you listen, you can go back and listen to it. It's from that guy, whatever his name was, who took the video right below the building. These were all this. At least this is where
the local guy, Dave.
This is he's only 10 yards or something at the base of the building, kind of crouched down. He's hearing these shots going off. And so you have, like I said, they have the 8 from Crooks, then one that sounds very similar. It could be from Crooks, but it's not. So it has to be in the vicinity. And then you have 10 seconds later, another one coming. Yeah. But the idea that one 10 seconds later was the one that killed Crooks is kind of ridiculous, because if Crooks only fired 8 shots, he would, and then the 9th shot was from someone else close by, some other sniper on the ground close by who hit his gun. Crooks would have been gone. Like, do you know what I mean? Crooks would have, he would have been up and run away, you know? The idea that 10 seconds later, the idea that crooks just lay there for 10 seconds after taking a shot and then taking a shot to his own gun and just went, I'm just going to lie here.
They tried to explain it by saying it locked or he was trying to reload.
Yeah.
So the fruits of all the sleuthing last year enabled us to come to make that story. That never had any impact on officialdom, of course.
No.
But it wasn't entirely pointless. So I'm happy for all these guys to do their thing because it might yield something interesting.
Yeah.
But you're right. The bottom political line, though, is that nothing changes. A couple of shows back, we brought up the Karl Rovian. It's ascribed to him. Quote to Ron Suskind in 2004 of the New York Times about how we are reality's creators now, and all of you will be left to study what we do. Now we disparaged and kind of mocked it in the context of the US regime believing that it could continue to operate like this on a global scale. That's not working. But inside the US, literally the next show we were doing was they had created a new reality, if you go with it being a conspiracy, you know, because all of you will be left to study what we do. It's like the culture war comes into focus, the US and Israel. It's like everyone's up in arms or they're emotional about it. Shit's all emotional. That's reality creation. And like you say, it's locked down. The crime scene is the process after is completely locked down. And the evidence, the only evidence you need for how locked down it is the fact that the candidate Trump was shot, survived, and what gave everyone hope that he survived? His supporters, certainly. It was kind of unsaid, but it was assumed they had the wind of God behind them now because he survived, which means it's busted wide open. Trump's going to get into office, take names, kick butt, find out who did it. How can he not? He has the right to. He earned it by surviving miraculously a deep state hit job. But what actually happens? He gets into office and on issue one after the other, capitulates. And the people are like, what the fuck?
He hasn't capitulated in everything, Neil. Come on now. Adam, take offense at that.
I am offended. Because there has been some movement.
Border.
They never talk about the border.
No. He's been dealing with the border, right? The immigration is down, right?
Yeah.
Illegal immigration is down. He's blowing up some narco traficantes in the Gulf of Mexico. Gulf of America, sorry.
Come on, that's a ruse to get to Venezuela and the oil.
He's taking.
We know it is.
He's kicking butt and taking names and.
No, he's avoiding the real issue in Mexico.
Huh?
Because he's avoiding the real issue in Mexico because the real issue in Mexico is also fully enmeshed, kind of like the Israel lobby with the CIA and the DEA and stuff. He'd be going to war. It'd be a civil war of sorts if he actually dealt with a problem in northern Mexico. The border, yeah, great. It's kind of like recognizing Palestine after it's been leveled. You're closing the border after the US population explodes past 400 million. It's too fucking late. It's done. So, which is why people clamor for mass deportations. Well, but that's out the window. That's a no-no. They started doing that and then they realized, that's way too socially fractious. They increased
the cost of the H1A, is it?
H1B.
H1BA, H1A, BBC, H1B visa from $1,000 to $100,000.
But
no more Indians.
Or is that what I'm seeing? MAGA skeptics are saying
that's true. They increased the price.
That's true, but there's a caveat. Do you know?
Not off the top of my head. I can't remember.
No, Adam's got no caveats.
Well, okay. I will say that the other thing that comes to mind as far as the actual things that he has done that is for the good was the things that he's done to get rid of all of the DEI stuff and try and walk back the infestation of the woke ideology. And then there was the whole Doge cut thing, but that's not Like,
Ask Musk how he thought that went.
yeah.
He saved billions.
Yeah,
they
he
cut
said
funding to them
billions,
all.
and the tariffs are racking up a big, fat, healthy bank account of 100 billion
Yeah.
versus a 37 trillion debt. Yeah.
Yeah. It's better than nothing.
And billions are flowing to Ukraine and Israel still.
That's making money.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Well, Ukraine, certainly. That's the Europeans are paying for that. No? Come on, Adam. It's happening. Stand up for MAGA, man.
I love Trump. He's my president. I voted for him.
Yep.
Multiple times.
Yep.
And
more than once. On one occasion.
More than twice.
You voted him more than multiple times on polling day or on voting day.
On separate voting days.
No, on voting day. You voted for him. You're telling us now that there was election fraud.
Be careful what you say next.
No.
I voted 17 times for Trump.
Multiple
last
years.
November.
2020, 2024. Can't remember if I did 2016 or not.
You've got to admit, though, that the mood out there is despondency, at least on MAGA Twitter.
I will say, as much as I supported him in a lot of what he's trying to do, and I understand that, there's political realities that you can't just, wave away with your hand by saying MAGA and America. There's political reality. And I get that, and I'm willing to take concessions and make compromises in that respect. But it's still underwhelming. Take the border issue as an example. You've got there was one ICE raid at I think it was a Hyundai car manufacturing plant in Georgia, and it was the biggest one ICE has ever done, the biggest raid. It was like a couple hundred, maybe 450 people that ICE rounded up and is going to be deporting. Great. The problem is you're missing like 3 zeros at the end of that number. That's what you need to be doing consistently.
So more.
Do
more.
Way more.
Okay, so do way more. Well, in the meantime, will you take this? Because this is obviously a big part of it as well. This is planning for next year. Go big screen there.
Go massive.
This is what it will turn into for UFC with the octagon in the middle. How many seats there? What is the plan?
Well, we're still playing with that. It's going to be under 5,000 people. It depends on how much the lawn can hold. As far as weight, the octagon itself weighs 15,000 pounds. So we don't know. We're still working it out. And my vision for this thing is we have this big arch, as you can see, with the lighting grid, because what I want is the White House on the back. And then when you shoot, when the fight goes around to the other side, you'll see the Washington Monument.
Yeah, we'll keep scrolling through. There's another shot from the side, and you can kind of see the grand scope of this, the next one in the slide.
Nice.
And there you see the fighters kind of walking in, and there's the backwards look. I mean, it's a massive operation right there.
Yeah, it really is. So, at first he put Ivanka in charge of handling this thing and putting it together. And when we sent the plans over to Ivanka, she said, "Dana, you do not mess around."
So Neil trying to tell us that Trump isn't
America.
Trump isn't making America great again. This is like we're coming up.
I stand corrected. This is Imperial Rome. This is awesome. This is the golden age.
This is for next year.
We can watch knuckleheads smash each other's face in
front of the White House.
All night long.
On the lawn.
Shit, make it a monthly feature.
Idiocracy.
Just keep the structure up there permanently.
I think they should.
And call it the Colosseum.
Yeah. This is for the 250th anniversary next year. 250th anniversary of MAGA. This is going to be on the White House lawn next July 4th.
Is that what it's
Two grown
planned
men punching each other in the face.
The 250-year anniversary.
for? Will there be lions?
Not yet.
Oh, please.
Could be worse. Could all be worse. There will be, though, multiple sets of two grown men punching each other in the face.
Half naked.
Half naked, punching each other in the face in the interest of MAGA.
Okay, so yeah, in the spirit of
Getting
Trump's
better.
wins, did you see the footage of him on a state visit to the UK?
Why, yeah, he's at a super banquet.
Yeah,
He was at
all
a den of iniquity.
of it's like Putin's vampires ball. King and Trump hail UK US special relationship. Blah 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 blah. Scroll down. It's got some stats on it. I mean, that's Charles has commended Trump's personal commitment to finding solutions to some of the world's most intractable conflicts. You just know Charles is ultra level. He hates Trump, but
King's speech at a lavish dinner for 160 guests in Windsor Castle emphasised the deep connections. People have fought and died together, have values we hold dear, said the King. Yes, indeed. Scroll down, Scotty. Keep going. Show us some. Are there any pictures? Good pictures of the banquet. There's Trump. Trump was in a carriage, I think, at one point as well.
yes,
Nice horses. Keep going.
It was a brilliant carriage.
There he is.
there he is. But it was
Toodaloo.
full on. I saw Brits commenting on it. They've never seen. They don't think any American
Fascist
president
God.
has that before.
Well, yeah, he's holding all the cards. Neil, he's holding all the cards.
He's holding all the cards, or he is playing ball now, and therefore he gets the honors he wants. He wants all the honors.
He's demanding them.
He's demanding them, but he's getting them this
'Cause
time
he's-
around.
'cause
He's
he's
not
playing-
getting Russiagate. He's getting this instead.
Because he's playing hardball. And he's making America great again. He's using America's leverage, his political, economic, military leverage to get everything that America deserves from all these peons. He's like, I want fancy banquets, I want carriage rides from you ride the red carpet. He's kicking butt and taking names around the world. He's showing who's boss.
So
Just in case anybody forgot that America's boss. They're not. We're back, baby.
The
Golden era.
The Brits are doing that because they're afraid of losing
Huh?
money.
Well, yeah, they'll be screwed. America will screw them. America will make life very difficult for the Brits. They all have to fall in line, bow down, pay homage,
Yeah.
render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render unto Trump what is Trump's,
Amen.
which is more than Caesar's. I'll have you know. And meanwhile, another example of making America great again. This week we had the United States of Israel. Did you know that the United States of Israel was a thing?
I
we are.
saw it's
Have a listen.
50 states, one Israel. Yeah.
It's 50 states plus one Israel, making it the 51st
Is
state.
it plus one or is it just...
It's definitely plus one, yeah.
No, it's not 50 states.
50 states and then plus one Israel down to it's implied there very clearly. One more Israel. 51st state, the best one.
No.
Anyway. Play that wonderful video. Nice planes, waving people. Come to Israel, old city of Jerusalem. Jesus was here, Jesus was here, Jesus was here. Jesus touched this wall.
Jewish Jesus was there.
Isn't it amazing? Lay a wreath. And
We are honored to host today 250 state legislators from all 50 states of the United States of America.
whoa, go America! And in walks
delegation of legislators
Satan himself.
Satan himself.
to step up to his
Thank you for coming. And here's your massive check. Here's your massive campaign financing check. to each of you to make sure that each of you, they picked the 5 most influential members of each state legislature in America, captured them, took them to their side of the board. Now we own all your base.
Or belong to us.
All your base are belong to us. And well, it's own up. Like, because we're so confident that, you know, it's not even, we don't even bother with the actual Congress or Senate or the White House anymore. It's like that's so like that's like so 1970s. That's so after JFK. Like we've done that a long time ago, but now we need to kind of drill down on the state legislatures and those little people down there, because you know they have influence and they're cheaper. Bang for your buck, you know what I'm saying? Bang for your shekel. Spend less shekels on them than you do on the old congressmen and senates.
And also, they want to go on to be.
Well, they're the next generation.
Congressmen.
Yeah, a lot of them was supposed to be the next. You could probably do a poll, get the names of all those 250, and keep them somewhere, and then in say like 10 or 20 years, see how many of them became members of Congress.
But you could do
all of them
in the reverse, right? Where you could see how many came from. You know, basically get an idea of just how common that is,
and how often they went to Israel.
Yeah,
for a propaganda tour.
You may or may not find a correlation. I'm not saying it's causation.
Yeah, those people are that's just how it works. You know, they're just going with the flow. You know, that's how it works.
I don't think even the right and the so-called far right in the US understands the extent of the enmeshment. Although that is very symbolic.
Mm-hmm. What are they going to Israel for? What are those people going to Israel for?
And I'm going to be swearing quite loudly with this. What the actual fuck does Israel have to do with my home state of Georgia? What the actual fuck
did
the two have in common? Nothing.
Business ties.
Bullshit.
Bullshit business ties.
Get your bullshit out of here.
What do they have to do with them? Well, Israeli companies, Israel and Israeli intelligence has many front companies in your state that they use to engage in all sorts of political and social manipulation. There's a direct tie right there.
So you're saying because there is a Georgian Hollywood?
Yes.
Because there's a lot of Hollywood movies and TV shows and all that stuff that gets made partially in Georgia. So you're saying because there's a connection there, therefore we should make Israel great again.
Correct. Any reason that ends with "we should make Israel great again."
I'm Joe. You know this better than anyone.
It's MAGA or Mega Man.
George Galloway said it again on his show this week. The mother of all talk shows. The conceptual problem that the right-wing critics of Israel, the nationalists who criticize Israel, have is that they see a tiny country over there that has in fairly recent decades reached its tentacles across the Atlantic here, and they do it through a Zionism network primarily, but not only, of course. There are Christian Zionists too. The whole conception is tits up. You may as well call them one country, Israel. It's a single solitary enmeshment. Where does the CIA end and Mossad begin? It's so murky. People at the time of James Jesus Angleton couldn't tell in the 60s. We're long past what are they doing to us? We need to get them out of our politics. That's like saying, I need to go and rip out the infrastructure of my own state, wherever it is. Right now, I need to rip out all the phone lines, the fiber optics, the sewage system. It's fucking totally enmeshed.
It's like
It's one, and they're starting to proudly make banners to show it. 50 states, one Israel, with a circle around it. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's like while you were sleeping,
And this
someone
is,
cut your arm off and grafted a Jewish arm onto you. And then you woke up and you went, hang on a minute.
this is why
This isn't my arm.
the sign of someone who is not mature enough, who has not read enough, is when they go, and they're an Israel skeptic, big time. They hate Israel. And they go, come on. Why is everyone going with this thing where Israel killed Charlie Kirk? Come on. There's no evidence for that. Oh my God. Jesus. Except for the fact that, like goldfish in water, you live in a country where Israel comes in and does his thing. I swear I'll never forget. I never could find it again. But of the dozens of videos people took of the Las Vegas shooting in 2017, there were long form videos. So there were guys who just began recording during the shots, and they kept it going as they walked around the venue and then up the street and up the strip. And one guy was like, approach. You never saw him on camera. He said, don't film me. Don't film me. Stop recording. No, I'm an American. I can do what I want. No, you must stop recording. The thing is, I'm not doing it right because his accent, I can't tell if it was Israeli, but he sounded like he wasn't an American official ordering. Mm-hmm. He was presenting as an official. Anyway, that's just a little, like, who knows what that means. But think of the other context. It's Las Vegas. Sheldon Adelson. Lots of others. It's long since. There's whole books written on how in the 50s and 60s it was Jewish organized crime. Meyer Lansky, who ran Vegas. It's their city. Always has been. In the cultural representation of it, it's the Italian mafia. No, it's not. It's like there's no evidence, guys, except for the fact that the entire country is riddled with one and the same entity from top to bottom. Who's blocking Trump from getting access to all kinds of things? Oh, it's Judge so-and-so. Who can immediately sign off for the Israeli cybersecurity guy who was caught in a sting-up with trying to arrange to have sex with a minor? Oh, it's Judge so-and-so and his lawyer so-and-so. And they know they know each other, and they both happen to be Jewish or something like that. My point is that they don't understand the extent of how it's one structure. And so they come at this and go, no, there's no evidence. What are you talking about? There's no evidence at all. All you'll have is contextual stuff. Like Blumenthal, Jew himself, bless him, he's trying to point out, hello, there is contextual evidence for Kirk's, what was going on with him, vis-a-vis. Again, but Kirk was coming from a naive point of view. He was naive because he didn't understand that Israeli policy is US policy. You know, they're surrounded by people who are. When Ted Cruz went on that interview with Tucker Carlson, and they had that ridiculous. Cruz was ridiculous, but the theological debate about blessing Israel and whether one should, where Cruz was coming from was, of course, it's self-evident. Israel and us are the same. And anyone who leaves that church, the Judeo-Christian church, is basically a defector. As they see it, you're a traitor.
A traitor to what? to Jesus.
Yeah.
To the conception of Jesus they have in their head, yeah. To the Schofield Bible version where in its most demented form, no, we must stay friendly with Israel because we need them to start Armageddon, and then they'll all be wiped out, and the surviving ones will see the light and they'll convert to evangelical Christianity. It's mental. And it's circular logic and stuff, but and you hold open, like you said in the past, you hold open the possibility that the Israelis will never quite trust that they won't be left behind suddenly, or so they have ways and means to ensure that no one's going to step out of line. I think the big difference in Trump 1 and Trump 2 isn't so much when he talks about Israel per se, but he does seem like the old Trump would have been someone who, while campaigning in 2015 and early 2016, would have gone on Alex Jones's InfoWars and expressed doubt about the official version of Name the Atrocity. Old Trump would have expressed, I think he did express doubt about what the fuck just happened in Las Vegas. It was his first year. It was 2017. Now, new Trump is like, he knows what they are. These are basically house psyops, and the best you can do is accept the broad stroke of the narrative and try to game what you can out of it. Push closing the borders, push anti-DEI policy. You got to work within the house rules. They recognize now when something comes along that it's them, and them is not Israel per se. It's this joint conglomerate.
Yeah. What about Israeli drones? What about drones over Kirk's assassination? Birds, insects, UFOs. A lot of insects around, obviously.
I'm not.
You're not going there. Go to that one, Scotty, and we'll just have a look at Butler. Go to the first one on the left, and then just do the rest. Okay, so it's Dave Stewart's video. So that's what it looks like close up. Could be a bug. He's got a gun. Bumblebee? Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Think? Funny looking bumblebee. Could be some kind of an insect. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom! That's when they killed him. And then 10 seconds later, you hear this. Pew. That's the shot.
That's the crack of the cops doing,
or the cop on the ground, or the sniper on the roof.
Yeah, doing. Gosh, we better make it look like we were in any way involved in this.
Go to the next one. This is normal speed, I think, or maybe it's slowed down. People are fleeing.
Shooting.
Oh, so we didn't actually. You'd have to go slow. Go. So something flew across there. Go to the next one, and you'll see.
Shooting.
You could see it on the left there, but still pretty fast. Go ahead, next one. That thing is in the way, maybe. There it is there. Pew, pew, pew. Going across. And so there's the one you see. If you go back to, go to the fourth one again. and just pause it or play it, and if you can step forward with the thingy yourself, just pull the slider. Keep going. Yeah. Is he on the left? Or go back a bit.
There's two of them.
No, there's one
no.
there. See where the shadow of the thing on the left is?
Mm-hmm.
There's a little dot there.
Yeah.
That's it appearing, and then you go forward. Yeah, well, actually, both are in the frame at the same time because of the way it's...
Yeah. That's the same object.
But the one where it's silhouette, so the same object, but it's just because of the compression of the video and all that kind of stuff. But the
frames get blended.
Yeah, when you slow it down, yeah. But the on the left, the shape of the thing on the left is this picture that I just sent you there. That's it. It kind of zoomed in. There you go. It's kind of similar to the one over Butler, but who knows? Drones in the sky. But the problem is, like, you to do due diligence, you have to, like, pick something that's obviously a bug. First of all, you have to decide how far back it is from the camera, because the speed would be relative to how close it is to your face. Like when a fly flies past your face, it seems to fly pretty quickly, right? But if a bird flew straight past your face, the impression is that it's flying past relative to your face very quickly. But if it's flying 100 yards away, it's moving much more slowly, right? So you'd have to know where that was relative to the camera to get a better some kind of an idea of what speed it was doing. But it's hard to say.
Yeah, that's one of those things where in order to get a good idea of the speed that it's going, you need to know what it is.
Yeah.
But in this case, we don't know what it is.
No, you don't even know what it is. You need to know how far it is from the camera in terms of how if it's, and how, because if it's very close to the camera, if it's very close, like your eyes, basically, it's only passing, 30 inches or something, or 20 inches or something in front of your face. If it's crossing that same distance 100 yards away, it's a much greater distance. That could be, and the further back it goes, the greater distance.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So if it's moving at that same space quite far away, then it gets to the point where it can't be an insect, because it's far enough away. It's moving at 1,000 kilometers. It's moving at 600 miles an hour. No insect flies at 600 miles an hour. So you need to know how close it is to you, basically, to determine that. Well,
and that's why I was saying it would be, you would ideally know what it is you're looking at, so that way you would be able to tell, like, okay, if it's this, this size and the object is normally this size, then I know that it's approximately this far away, and then I'd be able to say, those kinds of maths would be a lot easier if you knew what it was you were looking at. But because we don't know what we're looking at, and it could be this, and it could be that, and it could be this close, and it could be that far away.
Yeah, well, if you knew what you were looking at, if you knew it was a bug, you wouldn't pay any attention to it. You know what I mean? And if it was a drone, if it was a drone, you know what I mean? So it's more about the speed that really would tell you, because there's so many things flying around, there are bugs and all that kind of stuff. You can't. And if you zoom in on some of the bugs, to do due diligence, you have to pick some of the other video footage from that same video of bugs flying around and zoom in on them and see what they look like. They look like a drone as well. But obviously, with the type of videos that was a better camera, whatever, I think. But maybe it was still I'm not sure if it was a cell phone camera, but anyway, he had a shotgun mic, so it was better audio. That's the video where you can hear.
He had a stand, I think.
No, he had a shotgun mic. You can see it in that video.
Well, yeah, no. I'm saying if it's the one that I remember watching, he actually had like the phone or the camera on like some kind of like tripod or something.
So it was a cell phone camera, which is it probably was. I think it's just the audio was better on that one, and it's in that one you hear the shot, and it sounds much more like you expect a shot from a 30-06 to sound, whereas the shots in most of the other videos from cell phones with using the cell phone microphones are suppressed. There's a suppression algorithm and the audio, the way the audio process, the camera processes the audio. It's just a crappy microphone, right? He had a better microphone, so it was more true to the actual sound of the shot, what it should have sounded like. Whereas down below, all the different video footage is it's much more muted, the sound of the shot, and that's why some people are going, that wasn't a 30-06, doesn't sound like that. Well, you have to take into consideration the recording device. Anyway, so after all that, what's the conclusion? Neil, tell us. Sum it up there. Where are we at on this? We know Charlie was an angel.
Saint.
If he was Catholic, he would have been canonized by now. It would be Saint Charlie. But apart from that,
that's not really at issue. But
what do you mean? He is a saint. Like, it's not an issue. It's not at issue. It's a foregone conclusion.
No. It's people are being a bit literal. It doesn't really matter whether he was going to convert to Catholicism. The point was he was going to convert from the quasi-official Judeo-American Church just by entertaining a break with Israel on a moral grounds.
And was that motive enough to kill him? No.
Not per se, but if he's a symbol of what can happen. It's not a motive, but it's an attractive prospect. If you think about it, 2 birds, 1 stone. Okay, we don't like where this is going, and we can use it to lionize and give him a quasi-martyrdom of our church before he leaves it. So you mean there's half a reason to do it, and there's half a reason. He's not that much of a threat. There's not a really important motive to kill him now, but he's very useful for signaling to anyone else considering defecting.
In both theories as to who killed him, the why of both of them are very similar. Taylor Robinson killed him because he was saying things he didn't like. Israel killed him because he was saying things they didn't like.
Israel / your Ted Cruz's.
Yeah, so either way, whoever killed him, the reason was he was saying things that someone didn't like, that one of those 2 parties didn't like.
And encouraging.
So it's allowed.
He ran the largest ever youth organization in the United States. There's nothing like it on the left.
Right.
Never has been.
Right, but that's part of saying things you don't like and the reach that it would have. So saying things you don't like and having the audience that would hear it. So it's okay to say that Charlie Kirk was killed by Taylor Robinson because he was saying things that Taylor Robinson didn't like and had to reach people with that message that Taylor Robinson didn't like. But it's not okay to say that Israel killed him because for exactly the same reason. Except he was saying different things. In the case of Taylor Robinson, it was saying things that were supposedly against the left or anti-left and too pro-right. In the case of Israel, it was because he was saying things that were anti-Israel. But it's just a bit, I suppose, you can make that argument, I suppose, but it seems a bit unreasonable for it to be okay to say that Robinson killed him because he was saying things he didn't like. But Israel wouldn't do the same thing for the same motivation. Because they're better than that.
Which is objectively untrue. They're the number one.
Israel does say things.
Assassinator of
Israel does
political
assassinations for political speech. Israel has a long track record of killing people for saying things that Israel doesn't like.
Not least 15 hours beforehand when they attempted to assassinate the latest crop of Hamas representation in fucking Qatar. That was on everyone's mind when they heard the news about Kirk. And it fed into it. It's why they went, it was fucking Israel, wasn't it? Obviously. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I know. But it's like these in the past that has troubled us. So, what is the motive of the Las Vegas?
It's not only that
mass shooting. How do you get a motive? And people scrambled around and they tried to look for one. Good luck finding one. But you know who came to at least the internet forefront at that point? She's now at the national forefront. Laura Loomer.
Mm-hmm.
And her theory was that what it was, guys, I've been talking on the inside. People who know in Vegas, it was a Saudi Arabian hit job from one member of the family to another, and it went wrong. The mass shooting was supposed to be a distraction so the hit could take place. Yeah, it's Saudi. And then you also had other noises from actual insiders at the time. Yeah, we're hearing he was Antifa / this and that, and he just hated conservatives. In the end, the official motive for doing it was actually, we don't know. We took his brain and we looked into it. I'm not joking. They cut it up to see if he had brain damage, and they left it at a motiveless massacre. Again, so you're left to try to establish motive yourself. So what is it? At that point, there hadn't really been there had been the Parkland school shooting in February of 2017 at the start of Trump's first term, but it had been a while since there was and then this was a massive one. And on the face of it, it's like pointless. But because it's such a lockdown system, it could in part just be because they can.
Because they can.
Just because they can.
No, people, they don't do things just because they can. They do them for the effect.
The effect?
That's not rational to do it just for no reason. Like most people do stuff for a reason.
And one of those reasons would, depending on the constitution of the individual, there might be someone who decides to shoot a child because they can.
But there's usually a reason behind it. It's usually more than that. Well, I mean, I'd say that almost like never happens. Like, I mean, because they can isn't actually an explanation as to why someone does anything.
Well, in 2013,
they're always getting something out of it.
The Boston terror bombings obviously had the angle of two Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
So you see an Israel adjacent motivation there. Then in 2015, you had the San Bernardino massacre blamed on a Muslim man and wife.
Mm-hmm.
Same again. Las Vegas maybe is more anomalous because the patsy is a white guy who's a frequent gambler, and they left it. It was totally nebulous. It was as if there wasn't a well prepared backstory in which to capitalize on. There was no apparently obvious thing they wanted to use the emotion from to channel towards.
It can be.
It seemed to go nowhere.
It can be more specific or less specific, but it can be more finite or more defined or less defined. But that doesn't mean it's not a reason when it's less defined.
Well, then I'll give you a reason that the only one I can think of is to make especially conservative types, because that's who would have been mostly in Vegas at that kind of concert, cowboy Western music concert. To remind them that just because Trump is now the president, you're not safe. Don't ever think, because we're still here. So it's at the level of subconscious stuff.
Well, see, I mean, you're talking about social engineering, basically. That's the remit of the people in positions of power, right? There's ultimately social engineering.
Yeah,
to keep the population
strategy of tension
in a certain state, or with a certain focus, or in a certain emotional state, or with a certain outlook or a certain perspective. And from their point of view, maybe a negative one is better than a positive one. You don't want people to be too happy or too relaxed or too, it's almost like the reason they don't like peace. Peacetime is not very profitable. So peaceful country where everybody's getting on and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, strategy of tension, basically. Keeping people controlled, fearful, feeling that the country is bad, going downhill, that there are certain people out there, certain groups out there who would spontaneously attack you, or certain individuals who would attack you. So the message is always to, at the baseline, the message is always to, or the goal is always to have an impact, a negative impact on the general population. That's top level social engineering type thing,
Yeah.
Because if you do stuff for no reason whatsoever, just that implies randomly, it's going to do something really without thinking about it. Because usually, if you have to have a thought about it, and you have to have some compulsion or some decision to do it, we can end up doing things that are counterproductive,
Yeah.
And then you're stupid. So
I know
these guys aren't stupid, so they tend to do things.
Some of them have no political flavor to them. Kirk's is totally different. Kirk's is political.
Yeah. Well,
up the wazoo. Yeah. But Sandy Hook, there's nothing political about the surface appearance of Sandy Hook.
But that was one of many, and we have to put all of those together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you see a pattern of things like that, you have to put that pattern. We put that together and look at what the overall effect on the population is of repeated mass shootings of innocent people and innocent children and stuff. It definitely doesn't have a good positive impact on the population. Like, it doesn't make them feel good about the country or the country they live in. Keeps them fearful.
I think it makes them more.
dependent.
I think it heightens suggestibility.
And dependence on
They
dependence on authorities.
terrorize them to seed the next level of bullshit they want to.
Yeah,
they want to
I
seed.
mean, it's ultimately control, right? You just want to control them. So that's the base level, is you want to control the population. That's your base motivation. It's just pure control. And so you come up with ways how you can achieve that control with a blunt force instrument of periodically, beating them, your captives. Periodically beat your captives, whether they need it or not, to keep them in control, because you're paranoid about losing control. It's kind of like America. That claim about America having, in order to maintain its global dominance and other countries being afraid and keep them paying homage to America and keep them in line. That phrase about periodically America has to pick some shitty little country and throw it up against the wall. In the event that has happened in the past, you look at it and you go, why did the US do that? And why did they even do that? That didn't seem to have any benefit to them, anything I can discern politically or geopolitically or whatever. But then you forget the fact that, no, they're doing it to send a message to everybody else. Stay in line, keep paying homage to us, or this is what will happen to you.
Yeah.
We got a comment that says, in short, it is all about steering the narrative in a certain direction, including introducing fear and anger to make the people accept the authorities' overreach.
Accept authorities' overreach, yeah.
Which is, like you were saying with the bully thing, when you put it in that perspective, it's like, well, the explanation still fits.
There's also messaging. This isn't just messaging to the population. This is messaging also to the political class. We haven't actually talked about the potential messaging that was sent to the political class, because there'd be a greater number of them who would more likely be aware of this kind of thing going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
That this actually happens, that there is a deep state, that there's this amorphous kind of behind the government, unelected officials who operate with impunity above and beyond any checks or balances, whatever, any oversight from the official overt government. Most of them are probably aware to one extent or another that kind of thing exists. So whenever they see that hand moving and acting in a certain way, in this violent way, well, it has a chilling effect on them as well. Because Charlie Kirk, and what about you?
Mm-hmm.
Could you have a weird bullet do weird things to your neck too? That could happen, could it? Maybe. So again, control of the population and control of the political class by periodically carrying out assassinations. If possible, they should always have some more definite, more finite, or beneficial result for them. But the baseline is to remind people, we're in control, this is what we can do, and you can do nothing about it. So you better watch yourself. It's the same as, it's the same policy, like the idea of globally throw a shitty little country up against the wall every now and again to remind all the rest of the countries to stay in line. At home,
domestically,
assassinate someone.
Or massacre some kids every now and then.
Or more pointedly, assassinate a political operative to show that they're not beyond reach either.
Yeah.
So that all the rest of them get the message, and then they fall in line. It's a desperate attempt to get everybody to fall in line and get them to stop. Candace Owen, Tucker Carlson, whatever, we can't do anything about them. But in a sense, it doesn't matter, because we're focused on the lawmakers. That's where the power lies. So we need to keep that power in line, basically, with our agenda. That's the great conspiracy theory right there, folks. There you go. That's it, kind of fleshed out. That's where it all stems from. That's where all this stuff stems from, is from that perception of how the world works. Some people might say it's stupid that the world doesn't work like that. You're crazy. Fair enough. But if you go with that, then you're left with a lot of strange coincidences and weird events that aren't really explainable, that just go away and you just forget about them. Some people have the luxury of just forgetting about these things or not paying attention to them at all. And the other ones will say crazy conspiracy theories. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about because you haven't actually looked at any conspiracy theories. You haven't actually, considered them properly to be able to call that a crazy conspiracy theory. You would have to actually have have the ability, have the the motivation or the will or the interest to actually look at it, and only then can you try and debunk it. But if you're just giving a blanket, all conspiracy theories are crazy, well, that opinion doesn't really count for much.
Yeah. Yeah, they believe. They have full faith in the church.
They just fall back on
official
Jesus. It's all in Jesus' hands. Let go and let God.
Let Jesus take the wheel.
Let Jesus take the wheel.
It looks
Take
like
the wheel,
TikTok
Jesus. Stop trying
is
to control.
going to be run by Larry Ellison now. The new official richest man in the world. Big Jewish Zionist. But the Mangione trial you mentioned earlier has started. They've already dropped the first 2 charges because they were ridiculous. One of them was terrorism. And I think his defense has a good case because they broke all kinds of rules by, the perp walk and stuff, and demanding publicly his execution before trial, so that prejudices and I don't think it could be a mistrial. We'll see. A mistrial would be interesting because it would actually play into further dividing the country. Because we're in the tiny minority that sees he was set up. You basically either are for him to take down the capitalist bastards, or you're against him because he's a fucking vigilante nutcase like Tyler Robinson. So I wouldn't be surprised actually if they do let him out just to stoke it all again, Meanwhile, real political operatives who actually try something decent and good, like we saw him doing during COVID, he may as well have been assassinated. The former leader of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, has been sentenced to 27 years in prison. Given his health and age, that's a death sentence. Supposedly for doing a January 6th type thing in his country in 2022, which it wasn't because the election was rigged against him. That's power. You could say, oh, well, that's Brazil's problem. That's the CIA as well, the CIA/Mossad. Speaking of, he was one of those new right leaders who went out of their way while cultivating popular support to signal his support, his love for Israel. Wearing like Mossad cool merch and t-shirts and stuff while campaigning. They don't care. It's like Trump in 2016, how much he loves Israel. I suspect he thought that would win him some space. No, Russiagate.
Yeah.
They take your homage and they still say, get down on your knees, They take your billions. Yeah, submit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's extraordinary. But like we're saying, where's the real source of that? Did you ever see that article was published in, I think, the 90s? I think it was put online long after. It was published in the Israeli press by Gordon Neve, Neve. Basically, someone began investigating but never could follow up, wonder why, and found that Netanyahu, as a kid, well, a young man in the United States, had multiple identities. The implication seems to be that he was groomed as a US intelligence asset first, who happened to be Jewish, and later on became who we know today. Again, the cart and the horse?
Yeah.
Which one is it? Is he an Israeli plant inside the US system early on? Or is he groomed in the US for our American Israel over there? Because Israel is basically like a Disneyland version of what the Jews may have wanted 150 years ago. Because it's a farce. It's like a secular place, but it's using religious tropes. It's like Disneyland, It's a theme park for both Christian Zionists and Jewish Zionists. It's a caricature of what both religions are ostensibly about. It's like Israel today is like what an American Disneyland producer would come up with. You know what I mean? It's like a McDonald's. It's so fucking fake. It's so ugly and brutal as well, of course, but which we can all see now. But it's fake as hell.
Yeah.
And Trump is just he plays into it because they can tell him things that they definitely do think about. Well, what if we just erase Gaza, pave it over, and turn it into a Riviera? And Trump's like,
Amazing.
My guy.
that's my guy. But who first thought of that? That's how they think,
Mm-hmm.
Disneyland.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's people in the US and Israel. They're not Americans. They're not Israelis. They're transnational type people who don't really, have no allegiance to any one country, and they're just
They were all at that banquet in London.
rulers of the world type thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, but even,
a bunch of them are.
Yeah, but I'd say a lot of them you've never seen before, never will.
Yeah.
This guy here does cinder block.
He does a what?
He fires a. Who knows? Yeah, maybe it's true. It's just a guy firing a 30-06 at a cinder block. It's got 3 interior walls and it breaks all 3 interior walls. But maybe, super bones. Super bones. Concrete bones. Can never tell. That's the answer. The answer going forward is everything you thought you knew about bullets and what they do. It's not true. Can never have that assumption again. So in the future, when bullets start doing weird things and flying around and killing like 17 people at once, it's possible.
I hate to break it to you, but that's that's older than us. The magic bullet theory posited that this is the government's explanation was that Oswald's second shot went through JFK's left shoulder, across, emerged from his right, went into Connolly in his back, across, and then out his wrist.
Yeah.
That's the magic bullet. And then it was found at the driver's side where Connolly was sitting.
Just like that. There you go.
Was it found there or was it found on the stretcher? I can't remember. It might have been found it popped out onto the stretcher that Connolly was on. I think that's what it was. Intact. And it was pristine and they showed a photo. It was like an unfired bullet.
Yep.
That's what they told people.
Yeah.
In 1963.
Yep.
So yeah. It's what it comes down to in the end is a choice. It's not. It's who you. It depends on what you know about the world. There's never the truth, I suppose.
Depends because what you suspect about the world.
Well, suspect, okay. But pay attention to it as well, because many of the older conspiracies are formally debunked. It takes time, but you can actually know some things later on.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough. Anyway, we done. We're late. 2 hours. Adam's
Has it been 2 hours already?
At least, yeah. You got a good joke there, Adam? To liven things up at the end. Come on.
3 conspiracy theorists walk into a bar.
Uh-huh.
You can't tell me that's just a coincidence.
That's terrible. Now I know what my jokes sound like. Where do people stash their weed on the highway?
On the highway? Don't know.
In the potholes.
Potholes in the highway.
I just asked Grok to tell me a joke.
Oh no, don't do that.
Why did the tomato turn red?
This is going to be bad.
Because it saw the salad dressing.
That's terrible. Grok needs to
Grok said that.
away.
Yeah.
That's like one of the super ancient jokes.
I think I've heard it, yeah.
Yeah.
I asked for a trans Jewish joke.
Not allowed.
Well, no, it gave me one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Why did the trans Jewish comedian get a standing ovation at the synagogue?
Go on.
because their transition from Schlemiel to Mensch was a real mitzvah for the audience.
I don't know what any of that means.
Yeah.
That's gobbledygook. Hebrew isn't a language.
Yiddish isn't a language either.
Yiddish.
That's Yiddish. Okay, so on next week's show, we can tell you already, we're going to have Busted It Wide Open. We'll know exactly what happened and who did it. And no doubt, no, I'm only kidding, but no doubt world events are taking along, and something big is going to happen sooner or later, because that's been the pattern in the recent years anyway. Watch this space. Trump's declared he wants Bagram Air Base back. It's mine. Give it back. Okay, dude. The Euros are still fighting talk about Russia. You can see they're angling. They're
increasingly irrelevant.
Increasingly irrelevant, but trying desperately to create some kind of skirmish that, I don't know, Trump's going to... This is why I wonder about Trump being fated like that in the UK, you know, were they buttering him up to basically guarantee that the US would
keep supporting Ukraine,
back them as they marched into Western Ukraine.
Yeah. I don't know. My scrying globe has...
Israel's going to attack Iran.
My scrying globe has gone all foggy.
Yeah.
It's increasingly foggy.
One theory
as chaos
that I heard that he wants Bagram back to position interceptors because of this new strategic partnership between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, so because the Pakis are going to fire nukes at Israel. and Trump's going to shoot him down from Bagram. I'd like to see that happen, actually. That scenario that people fleshed out, like, I'm like, maybe it's happening, it is, but or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just spitballing. But so Israel fires nukes at Iran. Pakis are like, holy fuck, nukes. So you got nukes flying from Israel to Iran, you have nukes flying from Pakistan to Israel, and in between you got Bagram Air Base, and Trump's trying to shoot them all down. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, bring it on. Why not?
He
do
gets
that.
the Nobel Peace Prize for stopping all of the
nuclear
holocaust. Yeah, nuclear war.
Yeah.
Did you see this week he claimed he stopped a war between Cambodia and Armenia?
Cambodia and Armenia. Well, he said that before. He keeps confusing that. He keeps referring.
He stopped for some reason, many that
for some reason it's stuck in his head. The Azerbaijan Armenia.
No. It was Azerbaijan.
Well, he started off saying, first of all, he said you know, he's because he repeats himself. What he was Azerbaijan, that deal I made between Azerbaijan and Albania.
Yeah,
and he didn't even. He just carried on. He didn't know that he made a mistake. And then the next one he called it Azerbaijan and Armenia, I think. And then the latest one was Cambodia and Armenia.
Yeah,
pretty far apart. I don't think they.
That's my president.
That's my president. But like in terms of that shooting down, like that's happened more or less already in a certain sense, except it didn't actually. The shooting down didn't happen, but you had Israeli planes made in America firing Israeli missiles made in America at a country, Qatar, made in America, more or less. With and the only military the Qataris have is made in America, and their air defense is made in America.
Yeah,
so you would have had basically, you know, the Qataris using American anti-aircraft or air defense systems to shoot down American planes or missiles or whatever, you know. So it's like it's all just give our weapons to everybody else and have them use them. But it's even worse than that, because basically
the war economy.
Qatar is largely staffed by Americans as well. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the biggest airbase, maybe the only significant airbase in Qatar is American airbase. So any military response that Qatar would have to anybody would be basically manned by Americans.
Yeah.
So in that situation, you would have had, if Qatar had to try to do anything about those Israeli missiles, but they were sneaky, and they used like missiles that couldn't be detected by radar or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but they know very well what the Americans have in Qatar, right? They have a full kind of full awareness of American military potential in our forces in Qatar, right? All the planes, all the radar, all the anti-aircraft and all that kind of stuff. The AD defense and all that kind of stuff. So they would know what to pick to have that, fire that missile at Qatar, try and take out Hamas.
And they would be tracked traveling over fucking Saudi Arabia, the whole length of it.
Yeah, the whole thing is a farce. Like,
you know, they still haven't. They usually do. It takes a few days, but they usually get an accounting of how the thing went down because they're proud of it, and it gets leaked out eventually. There still isn't a story, because that's the question I've seen that the actual military websites ask, the ones that pipe up whenever there's been an arrest, Nick, or something strange, and they do investigative journalism. The last I saw was like last week, 2 days after. It's like there's still no word on how that happened. Did they refuel it on the way? Who did it for them?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have their own tanker refuels?
I saw something from that was saying there was a refueling plane that took off from Qatar that was involved.
And the Qataris
British one.
Yeah. The
Qataris refueled the jets that were firing missiles at Qatar. Probably.
I don't like, that was one of the things that you're like, wait, hold on. This was a plane that took off from Qatar to refuel the planes that were bombing.
Maybe just to
Qatar.
observe it or something like that. Maybe not to refuel. Who knows? I don't know, but I wouldn't put it past them, to be honest. Like, it's ridiculous. How pathetic. Anyway, that's the state of the world these days, people. It's pathetic. But as long as there's a UFC fight in front of the White House, then it's all good, right? Everybody's happy. Make everything better. Are we going to reach the 250th anniversary of American
What year is
existence?
it now?
240. Next year is 250.
Next year's 250.
That's what I said. July.
Oh, yeah, they will.
That's why they're doing that.
Yeah.
Just try and stop us, Joe.
Yeah.
Try and stop us.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do it.
Mega. Mega. All right. We'll leave it there for this week, folks. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back next week with another show on whatever bullshit's been going on between now and then. So until then, have a good week. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all.
Can't stop the signal now.